Hi everyone! So this video has been a bit of a long time coming. I've had this book now since I believe the beginning of October when I first got The Beauty of Horror 4, and whilst I reviewed that book pretty much straight away, I wanted to keep this one a little bit longer to give myself some time to come up with ideas, because I didn't just want to show you the book blank. I wanted to do a few of the pages inside so that you might get inspired with your Haunt This journal and just see what they look like once a couple of the prompts have been interpreted. So when I say prompts, Haunt This journal is an art journal. There are a few of them floating around out there, but this one is, I believe, the only horror themed one. So I have quite a few of these types of books. As you can see, there are loads out there. So you've got Create This Book, you've got Wreck This Journal, which I believe is the most popular one out there. And there's so many. And I'm really into sort of creative pursuits, but I tend to get bored quite quickly. I get a bit obsessive and then I get bored when the novelty's worn off and I can't think of any more ideas. Well, that's why Haunt This Journal is brilliant, actually, because as you know, I'm a massive, massive horror fan. So anything to do with that genre, it will never get old for me. So we get a prompt on every single page. The prompts could be anything from, I don't know, let's just pick one out, make your own altar, to find a cobweb and place it here. You get different prompts on every page and it's up to you how you want to fill those prompts. You could do it completely literally, so you'd put an actual cobweb in that page, or you could style it out a little bit and create some artwork of a beautiful elaborate cobweb from acrylics and paints and pens and things like that. So it's totally up to you. I quite like to take my time thinking about it and creating something artistic rather than it being so literal. So here's the book itself. As you can see, it's got a bit of gloss to the cover. We've got a really creepy Ghouliana on the front, and on the back, again, there's some gloss detailing there. It says, warning, do as you wish, may it be fun, but what you unleash cannot be undone. So again, we've got those kind of creepy poems that we always find in the Beauty of Horror books. So of course it is by Alan Robert, I should mention, the illustrator of those Beauty of Horror colouring books. And here's Ghouliana again, as you can see from the front. Really creepy depiction of Ghouliana there. You can see that her hair has actually been made with bundles of sticks. It's like some kind of thing that you'd find in the forest or something. It's really creepy. So it starts off with a friendly reminder from beyond the grave. Ghouliana made this journal just for you. Put all of your trust in her. After all, what's the worst that could happen? The spirits she wants you to meet have been anxiously waiting. So it is, obviously it's got this creepy undertone to it, that's what it's all about. But a few creepy things have happened whilst I've been filling in this book, and I'll tell you about those as they kind of come along. So it says here, claim this journal as yours out loud, write your name backwards and reflect this page in a mirror. Very reminiscent of Red Rum from The Shining. And then obviously you've got different words and prompts on each page, and there's also illustrations as well, but a lot of it is kept blank for your own artwork. So I'm just going to go through. You can slow this down if you want to have a better look at some of the prompts, but I'm going to go through it fairly quickly because there are a lot of pages. So I'll just stop here and there just to show you a few different ones. Now this is one that I started and I just wanted to mess about with my inks. So I've been using a lot of Tim Holtz Distress inks in this book because I just like the distressed look that they give. So this isn't finished or complete. This was kind of a bit of a tester page, so I'm not really keen on that, to be honest. But as you can see, if you're using really heavy wet media and lots of layers, which is what I did, it will bleed through to the other side, and quite often you will have a prompt or something on the other side to read or look at. But to be honest with you, I don't really mind the bleed through because I've tried to make this journal as authentically creepy and freaky as possible. So I don't mind bits of smudges of things here and there. I've tried to make it look like something you might find in an abandoned asylum or something like that, because you know me, I'm just weird. So it says, you're a spirit trapped in this house. Use the ashes to write a message to the outside world. So what ashes? Now it tells you here to burn this page. So what you probably do is rip this page out, burn it, obviously be very careful with a naked flame, and then use the ashes to smudge out a message. So it's things like that really, and there's things you can cut out these bones, and then bury them, and you can maybe take photographs of things and stick them in. You know, if you've buried the bones in your back garden, take a photograph. It's really, you can take it as far as you like, or you can keep it as, as scaled back as you like. It's totally up to you. So this is really cool because if you look into Giuliana's eyes for, a minute, it says 13 seconds, but I think you'll need a little bit longer. If you look into her eyes, your eyes or your brain or whatever it is that kind of imprints an image into your vision for a little while after you turn a light off, it will imprint, and you can draw it here from your eye memory, whatever you call that. Yeah, so it's really, really fun. And as I say, you can take it as literally or as artistically as you like. But here's the first page in the book that is complete. So the prompt on this one was check underneath your bed. And this page was completely blank. So all this had on it was the bed and the hand and the writing. So what I decided to do, you can see it here that it's blank. I decided to go upstairs and check underneath my bed and see what was under there, whether we had like mothballs or whatever else was under the bed. And it turned out that my beautiful doggy Rosie was under the bed where she usually likes to hide out. So I thought it'd be really funny to take a photograph of that moment with the book so you can see what was underneath my bed. So I did explain earlier that I've been using a lot of Tim Holtz distress inks on this book, and as you can see, that's exactly what I've done around here. I've mixed black and a mossy green, and I really like the kind of grungy, gross effect that it brings. So fill this page with circles, turn them into pentacles, find an elevator with a 13th floor, take this journal out there and explore. Yeah, so a lot of the pages have a lot of blank areas for you to fill in, and some of them have a little bit more illustration and things. But so remember earlier when I said I wanted to make this look like something you'd find in an abandoned asylum? Yeah, this is kind of what I mean. So I'm not going really cutesy and neat with this journal, as you can see. So all this had on it was fill this page with madness, this prompt down here, and again this was blank, blank. So what I decided to do was use those distress inks to create a bit of a weathered look to the paper, really old look. And then I decided to repeat the words from The Shining that Jack Torrance is typing on his typewriter. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And then I just decided to scroll the text on there, and then some areas just cross it out and scrub it out and embolden it and things like that, just to give it a little bit of difference. I also got my fingers inside the distress ink and sort of pulled them down to create a dragged fingerprint look. And this is when the first creepy thing happened. Now, if you've been following me on social media, you will have seen me write about this. So I was completing this page whilst watching the Netflix documentary Haunted. It's the first time I've watched it. Every episode is different, and it's basically people telling stories of things that have happened to them, creepy supernatural things, and it's supposed to be true stories. So as I was doing this page, my Christmas card holder fell down from the wall behind me, which made me jump about 18 feet into the air. But you could say it wasn't hooked on properly or whatever. So, it didn't freak me out that much. It was just kind of a coincidence that I was watching this really creepy thing and drawing a really creepy page, and then something falls down in the dark behind me. But then this happened. So I'd finished this spread completely, and I was on to episode 3 of Haunted. And it was a story about a cult. And the leader of this cult was doing a television interview, and he actually quoted, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." Now, this documentary in this episode had absolutely nothing to do with Stephen King or The Shining or anything. It was to do with a cult in America. I think it was to do with gay conversion camps. And basically, it had no relevance to the film. But the fact that I had just spent 30 minutes writing and repeating this phrase from a classic horror movie that then appeared in a television programme that I was watching at the time, it was really, really weird. It's a quote that you hardly ever hear. It's one of those quotes that, everybody knows where it's from. It's from The Shining, but you wouldn't necessarily hear it anywhere else. So yeah, that was really, really freaky. Obviously, this is a kind of take on Edvard Munch's The Scream, and I just wanted to make it look like something that someone had drawn out of their worst nightmares, like a schizophrenic sort of dream. So yeah, really easy and quick to do actually, and quite effective, I think. So we've got a few more prompts here: holding a seance, sleep with this journal under your pillow, draw your bedroom with a red marker, decorate it in blood. and lots of other things. Like I said, slow this down if you want to have a proper look at the prompts. I'm not going to just flick to the pages I've done, because you might want to see what the other prompts say. So you will be able to slow this down and have a look. Now, as you can see, we've got some inks bleeding through, so that means that we have another page completed. This one was arrange dolls next to your bed and let them watch you sleep. So instead of taking that literally and arranging dolls that I don't have, thankfully, next to the bed, I decided to draw some classic kind of horror dolls. So you can see we've got Annabelle, we've got Billy the Puppet from Saw, we've got Chucky, and we've got Slappy from Goosebumps. Then I was kind of struggling at this point. I wanted to draw Brahms from The Boy, but I tried to draw it and it looked ridiculous. It didn't look anything like it. So I was thinking of other dolls that I could draw. I thought of the doll from Coraline, and I probably should have done that one. That would have been quite a good one. But instead I just decided to draw a generic voodoo doll. And then I decided, I know that this is a sculpture, but it's freaky and it's kind of doll-like. So this is Momo, the bird mother, which is a sculpture that was all over the internet last year for showing up on TikTok, and if you see it, you'll die, and all that kind of, you know, silly stuff. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's turned out, actually. And again, those Tim Holtz distress inks, I really need to get more of those because they're running out super fast. But they really add to the look of the book, don't they? It's that kind of smudged look I really like. So draw something absolutely terrifying, show it to a friend, ask them to whisper one word to describe it, write that word here. Honestly, this is such a fun book, and you know, if you really are into horror and things and you have that creative side, you could just go to town with this. So here we are again with the bleed through. So this one is, you find a message scratched inside your hotel closet. What does it say? So I needed a bit of help with this. I was Googling creepy scrawled messages, asylum walls and things like that. But I decided this one was the most relevant to the prompt. So I just put, you can't hide here. Like, this is a hiding spot that's already known to the killer. So yeah, I did a few more on here. Obviously you can see I've scratched off some days, as if somebody was trapped in this closet or held here for quite a long time. And then a few more quotes. We've got help me, the end is near, if these walls could talk they would scream. So yeah, just so much fun. It is very dark, and I've made it very dark, I know, and it won't be everyone's cup of tea, let's put it that way, but I just love anything creepy like that. It's a whole aesthetic, you know, it's just a lot of fun. So list as many euphemisms you can think of for someone who's died. So we've started off with kick the bucket. Let's think of a few. Pushing up daisies, 6 feet under, croaked it. I think this will be different in every country and every sort of place that people come from, because a lot of people have different euphemisms for things. Bit the dust, you know, stuff like that. Log your sudden chills and random goosebumps. So I actually wanted to draw an arm with goosebumps on here, but it was just way out of my comfort zone for drawing. I couldn't figure out how to create realistic goosebumps on an arm. So, I mean, you don't have to have an art degree to complete these things. You can just take the prompts at their word and do them. If they say go and rub it on the ground outside in the mud, go do it. You know, you don't have to think, oh, what could I draw or come up with that's symbolic of that prompt? You know, totally up to you. You find a hole in the basement wall, what's inside? So again, this was another one that was completely blank. I drew in the brick wall, filled it in with coloured pencil and distress ink. And I'll just tilt this because I don't know whether the light is bouncing off it, but what I was trying to achieve was it, the clown, looking through the brick wall, and something is not quite right with it. It doesn't, I don't know if the nose is too long. I think its nose is quite short and stubby, isn't it? But it was just the room that I had and the size that I did it, you know. So anyway, it's meant to be it, the clown looking through the wall. But to be honest with you, I'm really pleased with how the bricks have turned out and how it almost does have that 3D look. So yeah, I'm happy with it overall. Have a friend write your obituary. Fill the jars with oddities. I mean, you could stick things into the jars if you wanted to. And we have find an old photograph from a generation long gone and attach it here. So, you know, those really old photographs from like Victorian times where they dressed really gothically and stuff, that would look cool here. Use the necklace of a loved one who's passed away as a pendulum. So I think you ask it questions, and if it swings and if it, you know, rotates or whatever, then that's your answer, yes or no. Bring this journal to a playground. Envision all of the children that played here that are no longer living. Oh, that's really freaky. Typewriter's gone mad. What is it typing over and over? So you could do the Jack Torrance thing here if you wanted. I did initially think to do that, but as I've already used that earlier in the book, I'll think of something else. Write your worst fear here. Dig a grave and bury this page. Now this is another one I've done, as you can see. It was protect this journal from evil spirits, and all that was on this page was that text and this hand. I think it's important that I tell you what was on the page so you know what's what. But the first thing I did was I wrote out the exorcism that they use in Supernatural to banish demons. So I found that online and wrote all that out in Latin. I then freehanded, and I'm really, really proud of this, so just give me a moment to shine here. I freehanded the tattoo from Supernatural. Now, it's not perfect, but to say that I can't normally draw a circle even with a blimmin' template, to say that I freehanded this, I'm really, really pleased with how it's turned out. I think it looks fantastic. It's not, you know, exactly how it is in Supernatural, but yeah, I'm just quite surprised and shocked at myself really that I managed to draw it so nicely and neatly without actually using a template. So yeah, that's the tattoo from Supernatural. And then I was Googling all of the different blood sigils that they use to protect themselves, that they paint on the wall and things like that. And these are the ones that I've found. We've got the Mark of Cain, and we've got the Angel Banishing Sigil, I think. And lots of other ones. I believe some of these might be demon summoning sigils, which is sort of against the point, but you know, it all adds to the look of it. And again, I use the Fired Brick Distress ink to smudge around and just make it look creepy. My favourite thing about this, apart from the tattoo, is how I've dragged the coloured pencil down from each of the sigils to make it look like they've been painted in blood or paint, and it's all dripped down on the wall. So yeah, I think it just adds to it. Really like that one. So we've got fill this page with ravens. Make your own ransom note with clippings from magazines. This is a work in progress, and this is another scary thing that happened whilst I was doing this journal. So it says log all of the repeating numbers that you see and when you see them. Now, I wasn't aware of this, and Alan, who made this book, actually messaged me to tell me that when I put a picture of my brick wall page on Twitter, I'd actually put it on at 4:44 p.m. Now, this was completely coincidental. I did not plan this, I promise you. And I didn't even notice it until Alan said. And then when I came to print it off, the tweet, and stick it in the book, I realised that 4:44 was the time that Alan had drawn in the book as well, which was really, really freaky. Now, another thing that's freaky about this, and I haven't printed it out, but Alan replied to me at 11:11, and again, it was just one of those weird coincidences. You can't quite believe it makes you think, like, is there anything to this? Because it's just weird. So yeah, I printed out the tweet and I've stuck it in, done a little bit of a scratchy border, but I'm not finished with this page yet. I just thought that is perfect for this page. So we've got ring a bell. Create your own ink blot test, dropping ink on the page, then closing the book before it dries and seeing what shape it creates. We've got trace your hand like you're trapped in this book. List all the scary movies you've always been too frightened to see and watch them all in one night. I don't think there are any movies that I've been too frightened to see. If I hear of a movie that is really freaky and scary and it's getting everybody, you know, fainting and stuff, I'll just watch it immediately. So that's kind of a prompt for me to watch it. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to do with this page. Maybe I'll put my scariest movies on there, I don't know. Rub essential oils in the page and breathe them in deeply. Hide this journal in a secret place overnight. Dim the lights and draw what you see in the shadows. Invite the spirits, and then we have an actual Ouija board. So ask the spirit a question by using this board and use a shot glass as a planchette. So using the shot glass to move across the board and see what letters you have. So it might be interesting to actually cut this out and do a proper seance with it and maybe log that and take photos or whatever. I don't know. It's up to you. Create a spirit painting. Paint an evil eye on a stone. And then this is the latest page that I've done because me and my son are watching the Scream movies at the moment. And I decided to draw Ghostface because all that was on this page was, again, blank, and then stab this page with the knife and the black scratched thing coming down. So I drew Ghostface and used lots of paint and things to neaten it up because it wasn't, perfect when I first did it. And then I decided to colour the knife in this kind of green palette because that is what the Stab movies, the movie within the Scream movies, use on their posters. And then again, just distress ink, drag down the page, and it just gives a really cool effect, and it's very quick and easy. So we have, don't think of anything scary. Choose a tarot card that suits you. You know what I might do actually? When I met Alan last year, he gave me one of the prototype tarot cards for the Beauty of Horror Kickstarter. I might stick that in there because that's that card, isn't it? And do something around that because that'll be a good place to store the card so I don't lose it. Then we have, write a 3-word horror story. So I was thinking for ages and ages about an actual horror story in 3 words, and it was very, very difficult. Things like wasp under eyelid and, things like that. I was looking on Google, but I thought I'd stick to the horror movie thing and just use Never Sleep Again from Nightmare on Elm Street. So again, this was completely blank, just had this prompt up here. Now, in my wish basket online, I have loads of enamel pins that I want to buy, and I'm just kind of buying them one by one here and there. And this was a pin that I'd seen ages ago on there for Freddy Krueger, obviously. So I grabbed a photo of that enamel pin and I drew the glove as best I could. I'm really, really good at copying things, so I can take a photograph of something and copy it as long as it's, fairly easy. What I'm not good at is just, if you ask me to draw a cat, I couldn't do it. I'm quite good at copying. So I got the picture of the pin, brought it up and drew it as best I could. And then on the pin, it actually does say Dream On, so I thought that was pretty cool. Now, I'd done the Never Sleep Again with the stripes of Freddy's jumper. I don't know whether you can see that. I'll just zoom it in. It's the red and olive green stripes that Freddy's jumper is made up of. And then around here, I did the rhyme from the film. So we've got 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, gonna stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. Looking at it now, it kind of looks like you go 9, 10, dream on, which makes no sense. But anyway, the thing that I'm most proud of from this is these scratches in the page. So I Googled claw marks and claw marks in a wall and all these different sort of keywords that I was using. And it came up with a black and white image of these kind of shaped claw marks. And I wanted it in black and white because I could easily see where the shadows and highlights and things had to go to make it look 3-dimensional. So all you have to do, it's super, super easy, is you get a really thin black pencil and you just draw the kind of claw shape. So draw this sort of curved rip that is a lot thicker in the middle and then thinner on the outside. And then on the left-hand side of each claw mark, you make the line thicker. And on the right-hand side, the line is really thin, but you add some light grey to the outside. And it does create this look of as if you've ripped through the page. I'm really, really pleased with how it's turned out. And even though I was thinking, should I add some distress ink? I almost did up here. You might be able to see where I put some pastel. I think I'm going to leave it blank. I think it kind of stands out better that way. So we've got tune your television to a channel filled with white noise. Now, as you can see, we have got some bleed through, as I mentioned earlier. Now, what you can do if you don't like this is you can cut out some paper and just stick it over the top. You don't have to worry about when you come to do the next prompt, all of the things that have bled through to the other side. Just stick a bit of paper over the top and do your artwork on there. This paper is actually thicker than the ones you would find in the Create This book by Mariah Elizabeth, which is, I believe, printed by Amazon. This isn't printed by Amazon. It's published by IDW, who publish all of the Beauty of Horror colouring books. And it's not the same paper as the Beauty of Horror books, but it is much thicker than the other art journals that you will find out there. So yeah, it's been made really, really well. I don't think they could have made it with completely bleed-proof card. It would have been huge and it would have cost a lot more money, but it has been very well done. You can tell it's got rounded edges and the gloss on the front and the back and things like that. So yeah, it's really, really cool. Complete a page in this journal under the covers. Leave this page blank for spirit. Channel your energy into this voodoo doll and recite the revenge spell. So you can cut out all of these voodoo needles and stick them here into the doll. Whistle at night. Now, if you whistled out into the night, would you get a whistle back? I think that would be the freakiest thing that could happen with this page. Bring this journal into the woods. What is the wind whispering? So what do you hear on the wind? Attach a memento from the woods here. And then smudge sage all over this journal to cleanse it. So I believe smudging is where you set a bundle of sage alight and then you just sort of waft it around and the smoke cleanses whatever's around. And then close the door. This would be really good in red for like the door from Insidious. And it says, you finish this journal, tell a trusted soul about your experiences, write their name here. Well, you're all my trusted souls. I've told you about my experiences with this book so far and the creepy things that have happened. So it says, with this journal, I have creeped myself out, drove someone nuts, heard voices, spoke to a spirit. So straight away, creep myself out is getting a huge tick in the box. And then you can fill in any other things that have happened to you whilst doing the journal. This was my sort of testing page. You can see I've got scribbles and things here, but it's just showing you all of the other Beauty of Horror books that you can get. And again, when we're talking about production quality, you can see the inside cover is full colour gloss and it has Giuliana was here. Same here as well. Just really, really nice to hold in your hand. Very well done. And I absolutely love it. I'm having so much fun with this book. As you can see, you know, with the pages, I just was doing one after the other and just getting the ideas for it. And yeah, just having a great time. So in the description below, you will find links to buy your very own Haunt This journal. I would absolutely love to see how you interpret the prompts. I keep checking the tag on Instagram just to see everybody else's work. It's so interesting for me, anything to do with creepy or scary stuff. So yeah, please tag me, send me your pages. I'm really interested to see what you've done. So thanks to Alan for creating another fantastically freaky book for us all. And thanks to all of you for watching this video. I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.